Time for Zambia's premier analysis show, Soccerchat Match Pack. So it was another installment on football in the MTN Fast Super League. That's all. Green Buffaloes are sent to the summit and top of the pile in terms of the action thus far in the 2018 season. But our feature match for this week comes from the Levin Mwanawasa Stadium, where Zesco United had a debt with Power Dynamos Football Club in the electricity derby, shall we? So let's get cracking with that one. Let's have a look at the two selections. So it was Emmanuel Siwale taking on Kelvin Kaindu. Of course, George Wandamina hasn't taken his place on the bench, but this was the selection. 4-2-3-1 for Zesco United in orange. Plays for John Chingandu in the hole. Lazarus Kambole played in the wide left position, and Mwapemwelwa leading the line as a force number 9. For Power Dynamos in red, they went 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1 with Jimmy Belek and Jovu playing the number 10 role and Alex Bazongonga leading the line. Rigan Ngui was deployed on the right-hand side of midfield, and on the left-hand side we had Kampamba Mubanga. That's Kelvin there. Basically, this was the game, and everything delicately poised between these two teams. Helping me with this week's presentation is Vespa Janza. Vespa, welcome to the show. For Power Dynamos, I don't know who should have gone into this game fearing the other, but for Zesco United, it was business as usual. They seem to line up in a similar way regardless of who they are playing.
Yeah, thank you, Zite. I think for me, of course, I've watched the Zesco now coming very strong. Of course, looking at a new season, which they also want, I think, to be champions again, Zite. And if you look at the way they are playing now, it's like a team for real, which really wants to get it back as champions.
All right, so let's talk about the devil in the detail. Let's get into the meat and bone of the analysis of this game. Let's start off with Zesco United in attack, shall we? The home side and defending champions, of course, and they've had seemingly the edge over Power Dynamos over the years, but let's just begin to discuss what they were able to do in attack. So, as usual, Zesco United trying to play out at the back, and one thing you quickly note that in Zesco's play-out system, they would easily eliminate the shirt number 14, Alex Bazongonga, and the shirt number 9, Jimmy Belek in Njovu. Then you'd have a situation where now the two defensive midfielders, shirt number 13, Mishak Chela, would get the ball, and you'd have an option of Kondwani Mtonga, who was playing slightly to the left-hand side of that double anchorman system. But once they got there, once they got into midfield, you had Kondwani Chimoni, the shirt number 32, versus shirt number 7, Lazarus Kambole. And right there in the hole, John Chingandu seemingly free there. And of course, Mwapemwela coming short to come and collect in between the lines. And Jesse Wero would maintain a wide right position. And right there, you'd actually see a situation where in the wide areas, Power Dynamos were man-marking. In the central areas, they were big thing. But because Zesco United, again, if you look at the attack construction in the first half, they were trying to use the wide areas to push the lines forward. Lazarus Kambole didn't have too much joy against Kondwani Chibone, especially in the first half. And this actually created a situation where Zesco would have a lot of possession, but very little cutting edge, Vespa.
Yeah, of course, Zesco having a lot of ball possession. I'm sure it's because of the way Power Dynamos was trying to close in, especially in the midfield. If you could see the way they were trying to organizing their midfield, Zite, which made the Zesco even not trying to penetrate easily to go and have at least a goal in the first half. Because if you look at Zesco's attack of late, Zite, I think I've seen that they've stopped most of the times. They use their defensive wingers to maybe try to force in the striking force. But I've seen it. Maybe it's because of the games they are playing. Sometimes it's the team you are playing. If they have good wingers who can not allow a wing defender to maybe
go up
into attack. Yeah, I think that's where they were having some problems. But of late, I've seen it not working for them until it worked in the second half. I think which the coach who was in the terraces saw it that maybe it can work in the other way around.
Could this have been playing in the Zesco United technical bench where they're thinking, okay, let's try to attack down the middle because Power have got very good wingers. Kampamba and Rigan and Nkwe will probably give us problems if we try to play the game in the wide areas, and if Simon Silimba and Faxon Kapumbu begin to go forward. Would you say that was their biggest worry, and they were going to say, okay, if we're going to attack, let us attack using the 3 attacking players, and the 2 defensive midfielders need to be very positive every time we have the ball?
Yeah, of course, Power Dynamos, I think if you look at also the way they try to attack, they are also trying to attack using their back 2 and the left back, trying to also to make sure the Zesco number 7 and the number 11, they don't have more power to maybe try and go and make crosses, because if you look at the Zesco's goals, most of the times are coming from the crosses. But I think for the coach, he's also trying to change his system, that maybe they've seen that if Zesco has to attack, they attack in the wing. But for Power, if you've seen, most of their attack is coming from the wings, which Sakala there, if you saw the way he was trying to put in crosses, which could have even made them win the game in the first half. Zite, I think that is how Zesco also was having problems of trying to attack. I think you could see that most of the times Zesco are there trying to maintain their lines in the midfield, having like the 2 midfielders anchoring, moving slowly also into attack, not allowing some like the defenders from the wings to go into attack as well, but allowing Power Dynamos into more ball possession, also trying to get another goal from the one which they got earlier.
All right, so let's talk about the gap analysis in between the lines for these 2 teams. In this sequence, we are calling Zesco transition defense. Now, if you look at the way Zesco were attacking, and once the attack progressed and got into the final third, and we're trying to see how they can carve open Power Dynamos, this one would be the situation. You'd have Meshach Chela playing the substantive number 6 role, and you'd have Kondwani Mtonga in a diagonal position, but also ready to pick up the second ball. But in terms of the shift for the Power Dynamos players, is that man, number 8, Larry Bwalia, is now wanting to look at Kondwani Mtonga and probably man-marking man. Don't forget where Kondwani is playing. He's playing on the left-hand side of that central midfield position. So you find that Larry Bwalia, who prefers to play on the left-hand side, has to run to the left-hand side of Zesco's attack to try to pick him up there. And once they try to hook the ball into the final third for Power Dynamos, again, too many bodies, and up top you've got Jimmy Belek, Njovu, and Ngonga ready to profit. But again, this is what Zesco have done consistently, Vespa, is that they'll always put Meshach Chela in front of any possible second ball that will come up, and you've got Odiamba and Marcel Kalonda who are always waiting and probably man-marking and ready to snap out any danger that presents itself. If you look at that gap, for the first time is that we didn't see Kondwani Mtonga and Meshach Chela stretching too much, and the gap between them wasn't really that big, and you needed to play with a lot of width. But once the attack advanced, you'd have Faxon Kapumbu top left of your screen there, who'd actually go. But Rigan Ngui would actually go down with him, the shirt number 30. And again, too many bodies for comfort. And right there we're asking ourselves, okay, Zesco have started playing with the false 9, which is Mwape Mwelo. And if you can see his position there, almost between the lines, trying to receive the ball from midfield. Did they really need somebody in the box? Or it was helping them create problems for Power Dynamos? Which one do you think is more true?
Yeah, because Zita, I think if you look at Mwape Mwelo, who was I think in the first 20 minutes, you could see that he was trying to, at least trying to control the midfield. Because if you look at Radiwalia, he was all over, and he also trying to stretch, of course, Kondwani and the Chaila, who are always trying to close there on the midi. And if you look at Power Dynamos, most of their games, they always try to dribble, pass through maybe on the middle, near the goal, unlike sometimes where they try to attack using the wingers. But for Zesco, like the way Kondwani and the Chaila were trying to protect their midfield. Of course, yes, you could do. Sometimes they try to protect, but it's not always. I think sometimes we should have one of them maybe into attack, because the Zesco of late, we've seen them scoring, is it maybe 1 or maybe 1-0.
So in other words, you'd like to see Kondwani Mtonga a little bit more in the box. Looking at his height again, you'll be able to connect from Faxon Kapumbu cross, possibly Simon Silumba cross. But again, the danger in transition, someone would say, coach, if he goes too much, he leaves Chaila alone.
Yeah, of course, if he goes, sometimes it depends the way you are attacking. If you were attacking to the right side, of course, we need someone to cover him up. Even we can say the back, maybe the wing back, if we are to the right side, he can also try to come inside and cover a bit. But depending to the system which they are playing, of course, he's not allowed to cross his line into maybe the final third. Sometimes, of course, as you have said, they may have a breakdown, like the way Power Dynamos was playing with Ralibo. They are always remaining in front of his strikers. Sometimes he's also dropping in front of the two midfielders, which was making them trying to make a diamond shape, which was working for them in the first half. As you can see, even the transition, the way it was moving for them from defense and in the midfield, trying to close Zesco, who was also trying to at least get a goal before the first half.
All right, so Power Dynamos were actually employing a medium press in this game, but that didn't do very well in terms of stopping Zesco United from advancing and progressing their attacks. But let's talk about Power Dynamos in attack, shall we? And in terms of their transition attack and what they were able to do and how they were constructing their attacks. Now, as earlier alluded to by Coach Vespa Janza, you had a situation where Power Dynamos were centrally compact and they were forming a diamond, which was making it possible for a forward line of pass. Now, when you look at the advanced attack in the final third, you actually see you've got Regan Ngwe, number 30, up the pitch. You've got Kele Chikampamba up the pitch as well. And Laruwale, of course, he is coming, trying to snuff out a second ball. Jimmy Njovu is in the 18. Bazo is trying to get into the 18. But right there, in terms of the consideration, I'm looking at now the gap between that attacking line, okay, and where they have left the shirt number 6, Benson Sakala. And on the opposite sides, or in his sides, adjacent to him, we've got shirt number 22, Mwape Mwelo, and number 11, John Chingando. And right there, once they hook a cross in, and Zesco United head the ball out, it's 2v1 in that area, and that makes it very hard work for Benson Sakala. He has to chase either left or right, because all the Zesco United play, and both of them are technicians, Mwelwa and Chingandu. Both of them are technicians. And I'm thinking, in terms of cover now, who covers Laruwale in that situation? Because, look, Kondwani Chimoni is looking at the number 7 there. Billy Kemtale and Mwanambaba are keeping vigil of Jesse Were, who's not dropping, by the way, to come and help Zesco United defensively. So you're thinking that space there, and Benson Sakala alone in that area looks risky for me.
Yeah, Zita, I think for me also it looks like they were trying to risk on that one, because once you lose the ball, you can only even be caught in a counter, which can even cost you a goal. Because the way they were trying to attack, which was good for them if they could get a goal from that attack. Zita, if you look at the numbers, which we are getting into attack for Zesco's area, I think it was good. I think which can work for them. But if you lose the ball in such situations, I think you may end up beating up your goalkeeper. That is not.
I'm just thinking, and again, once we discuss Power Dynamos transition attack, you quickly notice that Power first are coming from a very deep position with a lot of players behind the ball. Of course, except for Jimmy Belek and his strike partner Bazo. But once they get up the pitch, they've got a lot of numbers up top, and that's one thing probably we need to ask about Power Dynamos. Can they carve out the opponent without having to invest too many bodies going forward? Especially if you're talking about protection for Benson Sakala.
Yeah, I think they need to protect the young man. Of course, sometimes you find that when you are playing maybe a passing game, which sometimes the players will enjoy in a game. Sometimes they even lose their positions, as you saw even in the Power Dynamos this game. Like it was, they were leading quite okay, but sometimes losing positions because of maybe trying to get into the rhythm of the game because of their passing. Of course, I need to have a touch.
But another way of looking at it, and that would be the question, and maybe if we can see the advanced attack once more, that is Power Dynamos Football Club, is that right there, maybe you want Benson Sakala to move up a little bit forward, and the same should be said for the two central defenders. Move up, but again, they are again vulnerable to another risk that brings Jesse Were to a situation where he can be very dangerous, especially if you give him space and acres to actually run. But which one would be easier for Power Dynamos to do? Because again, it will be hard to legislate for the number 8, Larivalia, to come back, or should be standing square, or shouldn't be far off, because he's trying to stretch the Zesco central midfielders in all directions. So which one do? You move the lines up and tell Benson Sakala to move up, or you need an extra man to wait with Benson Sakala in case of a breakdown in central midfield there?
Yeah, looking at the team they were playing with Zesco United, very experienced Zita, especially with the games they've played and the games which they are still playing in a continental games. And if you try to attack like the way Power Dynamos was trying to expose themselves, especially in the midfield, where they know that Zesco most of the times they are very good in the midfield because of the way the Kondwani and the Chaira trying to protect themselves there. But if you've seen of late Power Dynamos also in their attack, of course they will look like a lot of them into attack. They are allowing the Sakala also there from defense to into attack. I think most of the times I've seen him there trying to even make crosses which they could have maybe got one or two in there which failed. And I think if they continue doing that, I think they need someone to be covering instead of maybe 8 of them in the box, and you allow a player like Jesse Were trying to hang around there, and you know how dangerous that guy he is. He can just get the ball and maybe catch you in a counter.
On a counter. Anyway, let's talk about one of the most important props for Power Dynamos, and that is the central midfielder Larry Walia. Plays as the central attacking midfielder there. Now, let's just have a look at his touch map and what he was able to do. Now, and here's the situation. And if you look at what they were able to do in transition because of Zesco again, investing a lot of numbers forward and that bit of a gap, especially on the left-hand side of central midfield. Larry Walia would drive. Those striped balls represent the touches of the ball he had in the second half, in the first half, the conversion of balls. And you quickly see a situation, and once he got the ball, Power Dynamos, again, Zesco didn't play perfectly, is that the space that Chaila and Kondwane had to deal with touchline to touchline was always going to be ever so big. So you had a situation where Power Dynamos players would actually get the ball and run from the defensive areas and run with them up the pitch. But again, you notice that Larry Walia is touching the ball in slightly wide areas. Nothing through the middle, no touch in the 18, didn't shoot on goal. I don't know if Kelvin Kaindu will be expecting his number 8 to get involved in the game regards shooting on goal, getting into the 18 and probably being the second or third man run into that 18 area. But he didn't have that opportunity, or he didn't do that day. How would you mark him?
Yeah, Zite, I think Larry Walia is one of my good players, I think, in Zambia, I can say. But if you look at this game we played with Zesco, I don't know if that was the system which the coach used for him not to maybe to be most of the times maybe into attack, because the Rally has been scoring, I think, from the time we started the league, even in the preseason. I think he has been one of their goal scoring midfielder who is doing fine in the midfield. But if you saw the way he was trying to draw Zesco midfield, I think he was trying to maybe at least draw one of the midfielders, maybe Kondwani or Chaila, to try and draw them in the wings, so that maybe they can find a space for Bazo. You know, sometimes Bazo would also try to come from the midfield, collecting the balls from there, and which was not easy for him, because by the time you try to reach near the goal, is sometimes he lose the ball.
But anyway, they said to every dark cloud there's a silver lining, and let's probably talk about something positive. The goal that Power Dynamo scored in the 6th minute was the result of Larry Walia going to do a tactical overload on the left-hand side of the pitch, and he draws Zesco United. Kondwani Mtonga and Chaila gets sacked to one side, and there's always space on the blind side, and Regan Nkui finds that space and finally manages to do a cutback that, of course, the Zesco United defense almost caught flat-footed, but yeah, just fluffing at the back. But yeah, they didn't clear that one. But that's one advantage of what Larry was able to do. But should that be good enough in the circumstance that if he shuttles left and right, he's moving the opponents to those areas and it's creating opportunities for the wingers to put in crosses? But on the balance of play, Power Dynamos only scored once.
Yeah, I think if he could have continued having a player like that one, they could have even scored more in the first half. Looking at the way he was trying to come, collecting the balls and trying to interchange passes with Njovu there. It's only sometimes you find that the players could not read his colleagues' movements, because if you look at the way he was trying to move the midfield for Zesco in the wings, so that he could allow some of his colleagues to pass in and maybe try to interchange and play passes to reach near the goal. I think in future it can work, but if they continue attacking, if you find a very good team which maybe is they look at the way you are trying to come, because he was trying to come in the wings rally, trying to push these guys to support, and his number 3 Sakala also was trying to join him. And looking at the distance where it was, if they lose the ball, it was easy Ziti for Zesco to get the ball and even score.
All right, so Power Dynamos had a glorious first half, and they didn't have a very bad day at the office, except for those 2 strikes by Lazarus Kambole. But let's just have a look at the Power Dynamos, PDFC, in terms of their touch map and their short map in this game and what they were able to do in the Zesco United half. Now, the strike balls refer to the shots which were made in this game. Of course, one of the shots, of course, the one on the bottom right of your screen, that's the one that led to the goal that Power Dynamos actually scored. But let me give you a shocker of a statistic. If you look at the rest of those efforts in the 18 for Power Dynamos, that was Benson Sakala, the defensive midfielder, and from set piece situations. But between the lines, and perhaps this is where Kelvin kind will probably be happy with Larry Walia and what he was able to do and the influence that he did. But because of stretching Zesco United left and right in midfield, look at how many times Zesco United, Power Dynamos, were allowed to shoot just outside the 18. And probably it could be one of the things that could be going on at Arthur Davis Stadium when it comes to the next training session. Shooting practice in between the lines. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times the shot from between the lines. Again, if you're Kelvin Kaindo, you are saying, how in God's name did we only score 1? They had a lot of opportunities and they had good strikers of the ball in that midfield, but they just actually didn't score. And you've got Jimmy Njovu and Alex Ngonga shooting from outside the 18. Again, none of the strikers had a strike inside the 18.
Yeah, of course, Zite Power Dynamos, the strikers trying to be in a hurry, especially when you see that I think when they saw that Zesco were trying to make some mistakes. But of course, they could have got advantage of it, that if the defenders are not organizing themselves in good time, maybe they take advantage, like you've seen there. They were shooting even from outside the 18, which their shots could not even help them getting more goals. But I think if they can try and move forward, which the young man Rally was trying to push in, and the Sakala from that side trying to cross in and see if they can get more goals. But I think they needed to do a lot. If you look at the balls they had in Zesco's area, trying to even get more goals out of the chances they had.
So would you be disappointed if you're Kelvin Kaindo? You had those opportunities, but would you also mind the type of opportunities you create that his number 9 and number 10 didn't manage to get a shot on goal or a shot inside the 18? If you think about it, you say, okay, maybe we're just attacking differently. Maybe Kelvin Kaindo should look at it.
Yeah, of course he is disappointed, but if it comes back to the players themselves, if you look at Bazo, he's also in a hurry to get a goal that maybe people who are talking bad things about him, maybe they should also stop. Because if you look at that game in the first half, I think he was almost getting a goal for himself because of the way he was trying to organize himself, trying to run back the defenders when Rally also is trying to come in the midfield. But I think the coach also should try to maybe encourage them. Maybe next time they can do better than they did with Zesco United.
All right. So on the second game on the spin, of course, the Zesco United bench invested faith in the young Lamek Banda to come off the bench and probably rescue the situation. And of course, with the introduction of Lamek Banda, we saw a situation now where Zesco United were playing with a lot of width, and they would actually create spaces in the channels for the likes of John Chingandu and Lazarus Kambole to actually play better. And perhaps in the second half, that proved to be the difference. Of course, Zesco United came out breathing fire, scored early on in the second half, and of course, Lazarus Kambole scored in a 1v1 situation. We'll talk about the goalkeeping on the part of Joshua Titima as the show progresses. But let's just have a look at Zesco's touch and shot map regards what they were able to do in the Power Dynamos half and their attack construction. Of course, they enjoyed a lot of ball possession. Now, that's the Lamek Banda effect, that finally they were pulling Power Dynamos to the line. And that space in the middle, you've got Lazarus Kambole coming short, and you've got John Chingandu rather in the second half coming short, and the two defensive midfielders, that's Kondwani Mtonga and Mishek Chela, coming short. Zesco United really made the pitch big, and it was very difficult for Power Dynamos to actually play. But look at, in terms of penetration, and I'm sure George Luandamina won't be too disappointed in terms of what they were able to do, getting into the Power Dynamos 18 and getting in that space in between the lines and trying to affect the game. The strike balls are the shots that Zesco United took in that game. Healthy number of shots, and again, you'd see the expansion, how they would expand Power Dynamos. That meant the number 10 needed to come in to help, but again, if you arrive late as the number 10 to help matters in central midfield, it's a little bit too late. And one of the biggest problems in this game for Power Dynamos Football Club was managing a gentleman wearing shirt number 18. That's Kondwani Mtonga. Let's just have a look at his touch map, bearing in mind what we are just seeing on the screen right now. So that's Kondwani. Again, Kondwani from central midfield. Of course, you can't man-mark him, because if you follow him into the wide areas, Vespa, you create space in the middle. If you don't follow him, he goes into the wide area and affects the game, and he's coming for you as a player coming from deep, which is very dangerous. All weekend I've been asking myself this question, and one question only. Your Power Dynamos, you're doing a medium press, okay, which is within your right, but again, from that medium press, the likes of Kondwani Mtonga starting attacks, getting into midfield, and getting into the final third. When do you begin to mark him? When do you begin to really press and want to win the ball back? Especially if you've got players who can play like that on the part of Zesco.
Yeah, it's not easy to mark a player like Kondwani Mtonga, who is always sometimes he's having a lot of time of resting Zite. I think if you look at the way they play with Chaila, sometimes Chaila could go in, and Kondwani trying to cover him behind. Sometimes Mtonga would join the attacking, which is sometimes comes more dangerous when Mtonga is also trying to join into attack Zite. I think if you've seen of late, he's been playing good football. I think he's trying to enjoy his game in the.
Is it settling now? I know a lot of people criticize Zesco United, they play negative football, double anchorman. But now, if you've got a central midfielder who can do that, and he's very comfortable on the ball, he's a ball player. Okay, yes, he's not the greatest of dribblers, but he's able to create space as he moves. He's able to pick good, intelligent forward passes that take the team forward.
Yeah, it is. I think if you saw, even when they made a change, brought in someone who was also trying to do what the other one was doing, though he got tired. If you look at the young man, he stayed for I think for a long time. Of course, he needed a lot of game time. But if you look at the young man who came in, he changed everything. he could do most of his runs and being supported by Kondwani and the Chaira. And I think if you saw the way they were trying to press, especially into into attack, try to exchange with Wele, I think, which gave them an advantage of even getting goals.
All right, so 2-1 it finished in favor of Zesco United. And of course, for Power Dynamos, a few Power Dynamo supporters, or many Power Dynamo supporters, will actually be saying, well, we were robbed. Lazarus Kambole's equalizer was offside. But I was talking to Nkana supporter, and I'm sure many Power Dynamo supporters won't want to hear this, is that Scott Kama, you scored the handball against us, and yeah. It was bad. But anyway, let's deal with the pink elephant in the room. 2-1 it finished, and we can't help but to discuss that goal that Power Dynamos conceded. That's how Lazarus Kambole scored his second goal. Now, that's Joshua Titima, experienced player. What is your comment about that goal that he conceded? I've been speaking to a lot of goalkeeper coaches, and they've been saying he went down too early.
Yeah, I think he started very well. If you saw, he saved some of the sure goals in the first half. But I was disappointed with the goals which he allowed. I think for a keeper like him, he's more on a high level, so he could have at least saved his team on that one.
But he's very experienced.
Yeah, he is. He's been with the team, and they are the keepers, I think.
AFCON winner.
Yeah, so we need more of him to show that at least he can save the team, he can make the team win.
Let's end it there. Yusuf Lumu will probably have a long, good conversation with him. That was our analysis of Zesco United versus Power Dynamos, where the defending champions trumped as victors.